Don't mess with Moses. A sneak peek at Christian Bale as he cracks skulls and parts the Red Sea in Ridley Scott's Exodus. So, Hollywood is making a movie about Moses, Exodus, gods, and kings. And I wonder what, it may be an interesting take. They may make Moses and turn Moses into some sort of bloodthirsty barbarian. But you know, it's Hollywood doing its thing. I have to keep this video short because the distractors of the truth is trying to sabotage my channel. But you know, something like this, it doesn't surprise me, you know. Moses, you know what I'm saying, a white Moses. I'm like, it's been done before. We had NRA gun nut, Mr. Keep your damn dirty palms off me, you filthy ape, or dirty, how that phrase goes, Charleston Heston. He played Moses in the Ten Commandments. Charleston Heston also played Ben-Hur. And here's another line from this article. Thou shalt not attempt to outdo Charleston Heston. Okay, so that's not an official Hollywood commandment, but the prospect of taking on the role of Moses is Ridley Scott's Exodus, Gods and Kings, in theaters December 12th. And give Christian Bale pause. Charleston Heston does Charleston Heston better than anyone. Meaning they're saying that Charleston Heston, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Long Jaws, you know what I mean, he does the best Moses. And the thing is, with all the praise Jesus, hallelujahs, glory lords that black people do in church, it couldn't get us a theatrical biblical movie, you know, with black characters in it. You know what I'm saying? Well, not main black characters. Some of you may have some Bible movies, black people are standing off in the background. They're as extras, but if you want the main characters, you know, they have to be nothing less than white. But you know, now this is reinforcing white supremacy. Maybe it's inadvertently, maybe they don't have nefarious means, but you know, we all know that, you know, a movie like this is going to have, you know, a grand production. And they're going to have the whole Egyptian, you know, it's Ridley Scott, you know, the guy who did Aliens and so forth. So, you know, they're going to try to be as authentic as possible as recreating that era. So, and, you know, and that costs money. And you have to put white faces in there because that's the only way you're going to get white people motivated to go see a movie. You know, that's the only thing you'll get white people to be interested in the Bible. Anyway, if you are anything, if you whitewash anything, if you whitewash everything. So yeah, so this is nothing new. You know, it's Hollywood being Hollywood, and some people may say that, oh, it doesn't matter what color they are. I'm like, yeah, but why do they always have to be white, you know? And now I know that there was some black movie called, or with a black guy called The Color of the Cross, where Jesus Christ was black and he's being persecuted on those lines because he's dark-skinned. I actually thought that movie was foolish because, you know what I'm saying, the Bible doesn't mention anything about skin color and so forth. Not to that scale. So don't make a movie about a black Jesus Christ being persecuted because he's black. No, that's you know, that's to me that's that's counterproductive. But yeah, so it's now here we have the best Bible movies of all time. They got a list here, and I'm going to read them off. Number 1, Ben-Hur, Charleston Heston. 1959. Number 2, The Ten Commandments, 1956. The Last Temptation of Christ, 1988. Monty Python's Life of Brian, 1979. The Passion of Christ, 2004, Mel Gibson. So, you know what I'm saying, we I'm like, you know, with all the black churches, black evangelists, now you would think that they get their money up together, their rubles together, and create some sort of a black biblical movie, you know. Just some movie, some biblical movie with black characters in it, you know what I'm saying? They don't have to emphasize on the fact that they're black, they just so happens to be black. But you know what I'm saying, you know, Hollywood is not our friend. Yeah, you know, when the whole Boys in the Hood era, Juice, and movies about, you know what I'm saying, the young black men trapped up in the street life was hot, or black exploitation was hot. You know what I'm saying, you had movie production studios scrambling to make these kind of movies because they was generating some sort of income. But you know what I'm saying, the black, you know what I'm saying, the black Willows and Dillows in Hollywood couldn't put their heads together to create some sort of biblical, you know what I mean, type movie. Now, it doesn't matter if you know what I'm saying, believe in the Bible or not, if you just believe that they're all fairy tales. I'm saying some of these white people probably believe that and so forth, but that's not the point, you know. The point is to have some sort of history that, you know what I'm saying, that goes beyond this country, you know what I mean, that goes beyond slavery and Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner. Now, I'm not, you know what I'm saying, saying we should, you know what I'm saying, we should overlook them, but you see what I mean, you know, I'm having a hard time putting in words right now. But you know, it's Hollywood, and I'll tell you, man, 300 years from now, you know, knowing Hollywood, they'll probably making a movie about slavery and the Deep South, past the Mason-Dixon line, and you know, and put white people in the cotton fields. You know what I mean? It wasn't surprised. Like Paul Mooney said, you know, they make a movie about Harriet Tubman and make her white. You know, they make a movie about Nat Turner and make him white. You know, white people will want to be the oppressors and the oppressed. You know what I'm saying? They will want to be the everything in history. You know, and I know in this movie they're going to make the majority of the Jews that Moses leads to, you know what I mean, the promised land or whatever, the majority of them are going to be white. You know, and I tell you about slavery in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? The majority of those, you know what I'm saying, white slaves, Caucasian slaves, you know what I'm saying, white Caucasians would have made terrible slaves in Egypt. You know what I mean? They can't handle, they wouldn't have been able to handle those type of climates back then. Case in point, check out the the Captain Raleigh Chronicles, about an Englishman, you know, and his crew who were enslaved in northern Africa by Arabs. Most of those people died during the just dealing, because they were slaves in the hot regions, and they just they eventually died. Captain Raleigh made it back to the States, but he eventually died within a month. So yeah, so you want to tell me that there you had these white slaves in Egypt. Now this goes into, yeah, I will believe that, yeah, you had black slave owners, you know what I mean? The pharaohs were black, and the people and his subjects were black. You know, I'm not on this case that black people were righteous and the white man's the devil. It's not about that. You know, we have to understand that there were black people in ancient Babylon. So, you know, so, but you know, this isn't going to, you know, white people use this. They say the first, you know how white people would say that, well, black people were the first slave handlers or slave traders or whatever. There was slavery going on in Africa. Well, not according to their white Hollywood, you know what I'm saying, but I guarantee you, they're going to say the slaves that built the pyramids were white people, you know what I'm saying, are the European Jews that, you know, we're supposed to feel so sympathetic for. And I wouldn't be surprised if the, you know what I'm saying, you know, because you know, Jewish money helped fund this production. But you know, it's their Hollywood. You know, they can do what they want. You know. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to be historically accurate. But that's all I want to say. Thanks for watching and sorry for it.